If you think the world is flat, I got something for you. You know what I got for you? One of those. Completely wrong facts, everyone still believes. I wonder what they're gonna tell us. Let's get it.
30-year-olds were considered to be old in the Middle Ages. Many people see graphs showing that the average lifespan in the Middle Ages was about 30 years.
That's
This
true.
is misleading because it doesn't take into account how averages can be distorted. If I make $1 trillion and you make $1, the average is 500 billion, but that doesn't reflect reality for either of us. The same principle applies to the Middle Ages, where infant mortality rates were much higher than they are today, which dragged the average lifespan down. In reality, it wasn't that uncommon for people who survived infancy to live into their 50s or 60s. Diamonds are rare. Diamonds are actually one of the most common precious stones found in nature, with hundreds of millions of carats mined every year. What's truly rare, however, are gem-quality diamonds, those that are clear, well-formed, and free from major flaws. These high-quality stones are expensive, but they're not usually the ones used in most jewelry. The perception of scarcity and the extremely high prices are largely the result of a controlled supply because of a monopoly. For most of the 20th
Wait, they just counteracted it though. They said diamonds are rare. Diamonds aren't rare, just the good diamonds. Can't you make diamonds good? Like, can't like a carver carve diamonds to make the diamond good?
century, a single company had most of the diamonds, so they were able to control the diamond market by releasing only limited quantities at a time to artificially maintain high prices, creating a sort of fake scarcity. This was paired with massive advertising campaigns that successfully shaped public perception, positioning diamonds as rare and
Natural diamonds aren't clear.
these campaigns worked so much that nowadays, most engagement rings have diamonds on them. Lemmings commit mass unalivement. Lemming populations naturally go through cycles of booms,
Who the fuck thought lemmings commit mass unalivement? Who thought that? Everyone still believes. What the fuck's a lemmings?
crashes every few years. When their numbers get too high, they migrate in large groups to find new territory and food. During these migrations, some may fall off cliffs or drown while crossing rivers. This is
Dumbasses.
accidental, not intentional. The myth of mass lemming unalivement was popularized by the 19th
Wait, what is
century
lemmings?
documentary White Wilderness, where filmmakers staged scenes of lemmings jumping off a cliff. The crew expected to film this.
Oh, he's saying that people think that lemmings, which is an animal, I think, commit suicide.
When it didn't happen, they threw the animals off the cliff themselves to get the footage. According to
Whoa. We're not just gonna pass by that.
didn't happen. They threw the animals off the cliff themselves to get the footage. According
What?
to aerodynamics, a bee shouldn't be able to fly. In the 1930s, a French scientist asked an engineer friend to analyze bee flight using aerodynamic principles. Shockingly, the math didn't work, as the wings seemed too small to support the bee's weight. The thing is, insects don't have fixed wings like airplanes, nor do they flap their wings up and down like birds. Instead, they use rotating, flapping, and much more complex motion patterns. These motions became especially apparent when high-speed photography and fluid dynamics research onward revealed how bees actually fly. Lie detectors. Lie detectors, also called polygraph machines, measure heart rate, blood pressure, breathing rate, and skin sweat to assess how stressed a person is. The idea is that lying causes stress, which leads to noticeable changes in these.
Yes,
However,
duh.
these machines are highly unreliable, as they measure only stress, not deception itself. Stress levels can rise simply from the pressure of being questioned, especially if the topic is sensitive, even when the person is telling the truth. On the other hand, sociopaths or highly trained individuals can often remain calm enough to keep their readings within normal limits. Moreover, the machine
That makes
is
sense, though.
calibrated before the test begins to establish the person's baseline responses. Some people deliberately manipulate these baselines by causing themselves mild pain, like biting their tongue, or inducing anxiety, so that later reactions seem normal by comparison. Because of these limitations, polygraph results are not admissible as evidence in
I could do that.
and many.
Chat, you guys think you can pass a lie detector?
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. This is thought to be the result of a promotion by Kellogg to sell more cereal. It doesn't have any real scientific basis. However, that doesn't mean Kellogg invented the concept of breakfast or that it wasn't considered important before his marketing campaign. Breakfast was actually quite
You guys probably thought breakfast is the most important meal. It's not. It's not the most important meal.
did manual labor early in the morning and needed the necessary nutrients to get through it. Mice like cheese. If you've ever tried to actually set up a mouse
Bro,
trap with cheese,
mouse
you
like
might have noticed
cheese.
that
They
it
do
works.
like
That's not
cheese.
just because the cheese dries out pretty quickly, losing its scent and attractiveness to mice, but also because mice don't particularly prefer cheese at all. They eat pretty much anything with nutritional value, and like many other animals, they tend to go for high sugar items like candies or fruit, which provide much more energy. The myth might have
Dude.
originated because
Who the fuck is sending those? I'm watching a video.
in the past, people stored food like grains, cured meats, and cheese in cellars or pantries. Since cheese was one of the more aromatic and accessible foods left out or stored where mice could reach it, people would see mice eating cheese and start thinking they had a special preference for it. There are alpha and beta wolves. In the 1960s, a biologist named
You-
studied wolves.
You're telling me that there's no such thing as alpha and beta wolves?
Kept in captivity. By observing their behavior, he concluded that some wolves were more dominant, so-called alpha wolves, while others were more submissive, labeled beta or omega. However, this dominance hierarchy is mostly a result of captivity, where wolves are forced into close quarters. In the wild, wolf packs are typically families made up of 2 parents and their offspring, with no rigid dominance ladder. Even David Mech himself later reversed his position. After observing
That doesn't make sense though, because the dad is more hierarchy than the little kids. Is it too low?
he recognized the flaws in the earlier research and has since repeatedly asked people to stop using his outdated study. Before Columbus, people thought the world was flat. Many think that people before Columbus thought that the world was flat, but that's just...
If you think the world is flat, I got something for you. You know what I got for you? One of those.
outright false. Going as far back as ancient Greece, in the 5th century BCE, around 2,000 years before Columbus, educated people already knew the Earth was round. Pythagoras and Plato themselves supported the idea of a...
Chad, you think Columbus got bitches? You think he was pulling Johns? I think he was pulling hoods, I'm telling you. Yeah, forcefully is crazy. Yo. I don't know, bro. You think bro had riz, bro?
was flat, but that's just outright false. Going as far back as ancient Greece, in the 5th century BCE,
Like the man
around
he is.
2,000 years before Columbus, educated people already knew the Earth was round. Pythagoras and Plato themselves supported the idea of a spherical Earth, and by the 3rd century BCE, Eratosthenes not only knew the Earth was round,
Bro got a cannon on him.
CE, Eratosthenes not
It kind of looked like Isaiah.
themselves supported the idea of a spherical Earth, and by the 3rd century BCE, Eratosthenes
Bro got a noggin. You see that? That's a smart man right there.
not only knew the Earth was round, but he even calculated its circumference with surprising accuracy using shadows and geometry.
You look
To
like
be
my
precise,
dad.
He was only 2% off, which is absolutely crazy. This myth might have originated from Washington Irving's book in 1828 called
Oh,
A
he
History
definitely
of
got
the
some
Life and
bitches.
Voyages of Christopher Columbus, where he fictionalized a dramatic scene where churchmen and scholars argue with Columbus, claiming the Earth is flat, while the actual real debate was about the size of the ocean. Goldfish have a short memory. A popular myth
Who
says that
thinks
goldfish
that?
have a memory of just 3 seconds.
Who's
but
thinking goldfish have a short memory?
that couldn't be further from the truth.
Mike
In
Hawk's
fact,
long?
They actually have a pretty good memory. They're able to remember things from up to 5 months ago, and they're also quite smart. They can be trained to swim through hoops, push levers, and follow patterns. Interestingly, they can also distinguish between different songs and sounds, as shown in studies where goldfish were successfully trained to associate specific sounds with feeding time. Furthermore, they can recognize human faces and often swim to the front of the tank.
So your
when they
goldfish
see
knows
their
you.
regular caregiver. Their attention span isn't
Damn,
as
I
bad
kinda-
as
I'm
people
about to get
think
a-
either.
I'm about to get a
They've even been able to
goldfish.
complete puzzles
Pretty
and
smart.
navigate mazes. Dogs only see in black and white. While we have around 6 million cone photoreceptor cells in our eyes, dogs have only about 1.2 million. Also, we have 3 types of cones, red, green, and blue, while dogs have only 2, yellow and blue. This, however, doesn't mean that they only see in black and white. What they have is called dichromatic vision, meaning
Oh,
they
I don't
mostly see
remember
just
at
yellow
all.
and blue, with other colors appearing.
What was the fact before the Columbus one? No idea.
Different shades of these two. Essentially, it's similar to how colorblind people perceive the world. It's just a bit harder for dogs to distinguish colors in certain parts of the spectrum. For example, anything from red to green would appear as various shades of yellow or brownish colors.
That's
Keep in mind,
ass.
though, that what they lack in vision, they more than make up for with their sense of smell. They have about 220 million to 300 million olfactory receptors, while humans have around 5 to 6 million, and the part of their brain devoted to smell is proportionally about 40 times larger.
It was a wolf one. It was a wolf. There's no such thing as alpha. There's no such thing as alpha and beta wolves.
Than in humans. This enables them to detect scents at concentrations as low as 1 part per trillion, which would be like detecting a single drop of liquid in 20 Olympic swimming pools.
Jeez.
Shaking a Polaroid picture will help it develop. Not only does shaking a Polaroid not help the picture develop, but it actually pushes the developing chemicals to one side, causing over or underdevelopment. The myth comes from the habit associated with older Polaroid cameras, where users had to pull apart 2 layers of film after a short development time. During this process, waving or shaking the photo helped it dry
I feel like
faster,
that's
especially when the developer or
has to
fixer
be
was still
true,
wet
bro.
and could smudge. However, this didn't apply to later models, which developed internally and didn't require any separation or shaking. Interestingly, the popular song Hey Ya by Outkast helped reinforce the myth with its famous lyric, "Shake it like a Polaroid picture." After the song took off, Polaroid had to publicly explain that shaking the photos was actually counterproductive. Fruit juice is healthy. Many people who are used to eating sweets and want to go on a diet
Fruit
often
juice
start
is healthy.
drinking fruit juice as a substitute for sweetness. But in reality, it's not that
This
great
is
of a
1
choice.
a.m.'s diet
The reason
right
is
here.
that the sweet flavor in juice comes from a type
About
of
to
sugar
shake
called
it.
fructose. So at the end of the day, you're still eating sugar. Depending on the quantity and the fruit, some
So shake my dog and he'll see color? Yeah, bro. This shit works, bro. You can do it with a baby, too. Watch out, he's on the prowl.
juices can even contain as much sugar as a can of Coca-Cola. On top of that, fruit juice is a liquid, which makes it much easier to consume quickly and in large amounts without much thought, unlike solid fruit, which takes longer to eat and is more filling. For example, the average strawberry smoothie recipe calls for an entire carton of strawberries, half a cup of milk, half a cup of yogurt, and a few tablespoons of sugar.
That's pretty
That
good.
said, this argument mostly applies to calorie content. Fruits do tend to be healthier than sodas overall, thanks to the vitamins, fiber, and other.
This motherfucker just called it vitamins? Is that how you pronounce it? Who's smart in my chat? Nobody. I can't even ask y'all.
Crops or foods whose DNA has been modified aren't inherently bad. Most of these modifications actually make the organisms healthier by making them resistant to disease or enhancing their nutritional value. For example, golden rice, a GMO, was developed to help fight vitamin A deficiency in poor regions. Overall, GMO crops have helped reduce the need for...
That's the thing, though. They shouldn't be grown in those... They shouldn't be grown in those areas to begin with. Or you wouldn't need the GMOs.
Pesticides, land use, and water consumption. It's essentially a modern form of selective breeding, something humans have been doing for thousands of years, just with less precise methods. A clear example is how wild corn was gradually transformed into the sweet corn we eat today. That said, GMOs aren't inherently good either. These DNA modifications must be rigorously studied before being released to the market to avoid unintended effects on human health and the environment. Your blood is blue when not oxygenated. Blood actually comes in just 2 shades of red, dark red for venous blood and bright red for arterial blood. Arterial blood is oxygen-rich, which gives it its
blood
bright
is
red
blue.
color.
Yo, who thought that? Bro, you're telling me you didn't think blue was, blood was blue when it was in your body? Bro, look at your veins, bro. Oh, fuck, my fucking mouse died. That was, oh no, it didn't.
Blood is blue likely comes from the fact that veins appear bluish under the skin. However, this is due to how light penetrates and scatters through the skin, not because the blood itself is blue. You generally won't see arteries.
See? Look at that. Someone thought that. Someone thought that. Isn't blood blue before it's in oxygen? See? Someone thought that.
Through the skin because they're located deeper in the body and are better protected. This is important since a cut to an artery could cause rapid blood loss and you could even bleed out in minutes due to the high pressure at which oxygenated blood is pumped from
Well,
the
don't
heart.
call my mod a fucking
Knuckle cracking
dumbass.
leads to arthritis.
Only I can call him a dumbass. Alright? Watch your fucking mouth.
And it doesn't cause any damage to the bones, cartilage, or
No, you
ligaments.
shouldn't.
There even was a famous study by Dr. Donald Unger, who cracked the knuckles on one hand for 60 years and found
Might
no
as well call
difference in
people
arthritis between his
dumbasses.
two hands. The myth likely originated from made-up warnings intended to discourage people from cracking their knuckles, mostly because others found the sound annoying. You are supposed to pee on a jellyfish sting.
We're almost done. We're almost done.
Not only is it unhelpful, but peeing on a jellyfish sting can actually make the situation worse.
That's not true.
Varies from
That's
person
not
to
true,
person,
bro.
and in some cases, it can change the pH of the sting.
Bro, that's not true. You're supposed to pee on a jellyfish
in a way
sting.
that triggers more venom release or causes undischarged stingers to fire.
Who the fuck's this guy
recommended
getting his
treatment for
info
a
from?
jellyfish sting is to rinse the area with vinegar, which can neutralize certain jellyfish toxins and help prevent additional stingers from activating. The myth likely originated from the belief that urine is sterile and contains ammonia, and it was further popularized by the famous episode of Friends, where the characters rely on this method. If you swallow gum, it stays in your stomach for 5 to 7 years. This is completely false.
All right, I
Gum
knew
is
that
made
was
of
false.
sweeteners, flavorings, and a gum base. While it's true that the gum base is indigestible, similar
No.
to the fiber in corn or seeds, it doesn't just stay in your stomach. Instead, it moves through your digestive system like other undigested material and is passed in your stool, usually within a day or two.
Yeah,
the myth likely
I figured
began as a
that.
way for parents to discourage kids from swallowing gum. The only real risk comes from repeatedly swallowing large amounts, which could potentially lead to digestive blockages. Being cold will make you sick with the flu. Being cold doesn't directly cause you to get sick, but it can have indirect effects. Cold weather can slightly weaken your immune response, and since we tend to spend more time indoors during colder months, often in close proximity to others, the chances of getting infected increase. But the cold itself isn't what makes you sick. The same goes for going outside
Yes, it
with wet hair.
is.
It doesn't directly cause it.
Dude, you guys want to see me fucking shake my ass or something, bro? Because I'm fucking watching a video, you fucking bot. You guys want to see my arc? Is that what you guys keep on sending those?
Illness. Additionally, cold air is usually drier, and flu viruses tend to survive longer in dry conditions.
So it
Dry
is the
air can
cold.
also dry out your nasal passages, making it easier for viruses to enter and infect your body. Fat in your diet is the source of your body fat. Many low-fat diet trends from the 1980s and 1990s helped spread this myth. Ironically, they often led people to overconsume refined carbs and sugars instead.
Fat in
both
your
of which
diet
can
is the
contribute
source
to
of
weight
body
gain,
fat.
sometimes even more than fat itself. The truth is, fat in your diet doesn't directly lead to body fat. What causes weight gain is a calorie surplus, meaning you take in more calories than you burn. The excess energy is then stored as fat. That said, fat is energy dense, meaning it contains a lot of calories per gram. So it's easier to consume more calories quickly when eating fatty foods, but that can be said for sugar and carbs as well.